Hello, this is Martin Brossman, and you don't hear the regular intro to Linking into Sales because I have a very important announcement. On August 16th, 2018, Greg passed away in his sleep, leaving a wife and 5 wonderful children. He's going to be missed dearly, and this show was recorded before his passing. He was so busy he wasn't able to join us, but I know he'd want it to still go out. I'm asking everyone who's heard the show, everyone that gained value from it or any of our training, to please seek out the GoFundMe site for his family and either share or contribute it. I made a bit.ly short link you can find at bit.ly/Greg Hire, GregHyerFund, all written together, Greg Hire Fund. It will link you to the GoFundMe site. And again, please contribute to it. It's a small way we can help his family. My intention is to continue the show and find ways to support and help his family that survived him. Welcome to the Social Selling Podcast by Linking into Sales. I'm Martin Brossman, and Greg Hire is out remotely taking care of customers. I'm excited to have an interview with Liesl Mathis at Redhat in one of their conference rooms. This is so much fun. This is a beautiful place. Just a great place to come. This is my first time here.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm glad you could be here.
And I really want to just jump into our show, but I first want to mention that Liesl Mathis is a social selling and employee advocate. She's a great speaker. I heard her at the Internet Conference in Raleigh. That's where we first met. And just a true champion of how Redhat can serve their customers better. I mean, that's it, because Redhat to me is a company that truly lives by the idea it must be win-win or we need to go home. And that's to me what I call ethical sales. Yeah. And you've been rolling up your sleeves on what is social selling and what does it mean and really what does serving the customer better today mean,
exactly.
Right?
Yep.
And so I want to talk about some things on this topic. Our topic today is keeping your sales process real, authentic, and connected to your customers. And the key is we have more automation than ever before. And how do we make sure it doesn't seem like a bot talking to the customer, right?
Exactly.
And that's what I wanted to do the show on. We kind of had a conversation about it because people are now using more AI tools or machine learning tools. They're getting better data, everything. But we still have to make it high touch.
Exactly.
So go ahead.
Yeah, so it's great. Thanks for coming. I'm glad to be on the show. Connecting, what I'm realizing is that phone calls really don't work anymore to connect with your customers. Prospect takes 18 or more phone calls. Callback rates are below 1%, and only 24% of outbound emails are ever opened. So the way we're selling is changing.
Yeah.
And it still has to be a relationship-based model, though. You can't go out and expect that the old way of doing sales is going to work. We're finding new ways, which is social media, to help bridge that gap. And we're finding new ways to build relationships using social media. And one thing I wanted to share with you today is about how we work with our customer teams using social to still build that authenticity, because we have a social advocacy platform that we use. People are going in and sharing content, and that's great. It's relevant, encouraging them to be authentic, writing their posts. But we don't want it to feel like each account rep is sharing the exact same piece of content. So what we've structured is account teams. I've worked with a few regions with this approach, and we have something called Minding Your Social Business Workshop. And we get the account teams together and go through the goals, the objectives for that account, who the prospects are, who do we want to target, and then sit around and we divvy up activities within that room in terms of researching and prospecting, basically. And everybody together goes through and finds information. We have a shared Google Doc, put all the information in there. So it's not individuals who are going out doing the same activities for the account. We have, let's say, 3 to 5 individuals, and The outcome of that is a very strong targeted list with specific details about each individual, ways that you can customize and personalize when you reach out to them. So we're finding that it also creates a community of best practices within that team. They can encourage each other to use social. How have you done it? What has that person done? And how have you engaged with the customer? So it really builds that enablement as well as finding really targeted ways to connect with customers.
This is such a great example because I was speaking to financial advisors, and they're given this watered-down content, and one of them said, I go on LinkedIn and we're all spitting out the same thing. And people are going to notice that because if they're connected to us, they'll see it in a stream.
Right.
And this is part of the personalization idea. Mm-hmm. We need to have good quality content so we aren't producing inaccurate content.
Right.
We need a shared team approach of how to get the content.
Right.
And then each individual rep needs to tailor it to the customer they're meeting.
Exactly.
And then the other thing I heard in this is giving them options on scripts, but not saying you must just do it this way.
Right. And that's really the Redhat way. We leave it open to the community to choose to use our platform or not, choose to use the posts that we provide or not, and that's worked really well. Providing options and choice is really the Redhat way. And so it applies to social selling as well, because we do offer multiple different posts or options for them to choose, but they might just go and outside of our platform and share. They might use some of that content to connect directly with the customer. My goal is really to provide them with the information and arm them with resources so they can be effective using social to really scale their business, but in a way that works for them.
And the other thing is staying close to them to find out what's working and what isn't.
Yes.
So you're looking at the pool, you're always adjusting and finding out. Because I think what we have to realize is we're in a world where our customer has a group that is often a mixed marriage. They've been forced together. They may have been competing companies, and now they have to work together, so they have their own internal challenges.
Right.
And then you just have more workload here.
Right.
So you have a team with more activity and moving pieces. Mm-hmm. So you've got to have processes that keep it personalized and you don't repeat it. I had an AC guy come and work on something. Then the next guy came, and you could find each time each person had no clue what the last did.
Right.
And I'm going, can't you just have a CRM and make a note?
Exactly. That's such a good point.
And that's, to me, so critical that when you have a complex team and multiple people, the customer doesn't want to re-explain things like when you go to the doctor or something. Where every person you have to fill out the same form and repeat yourself.
And that's a really good point, because we have a team of people working on an account, but we know the customers have a team of people also who are reviewing what we have, our options. So the buyers that we have to connect with it's grown to maybe 10 people. And so that's why our team approach with that Minding Your Social Business workshop works well, because we can target that Sally is going to tackle these two customers in that journey, and Robert's going to tackle the other one. So we're sending similar messages, but we're not all going to target that one customer. All 10 of you aren't going to share an article or send a message to that one customer. We're going to spread it around. So as they get together and talk about their options in Redhat, they're all informed. So we are seen as industry experts, and we want our Redhat sales professionals to be the ones they come to when they have questions or problems that they want to have solved.
Some of the challenges I hear from salespeople is the fact there is no get through this one gatekeeper and get to this person, the decision maker.
Right.
Greg and I call it, there are many terms, but one of the terms we have is learning to identify the bridge builder. And it may be a younger person that's in charge of doing the research and doing the information.
Right.
And they may not always be the most friendly or something. Are they knowledgeable or have had the years of experience of communications? So identifying that in their group is important as well. And then kind of going, who are the moving pieces, right? So could you talk a little bit about that of understanding this complex world on both sides and again, keeping it real.
Right. And that's where I think a lot of the tools available allow us to monitor what's happening in that account. So you're able to see all the individuals that are related to that customer, and you can kind of hone in on that person that can be the can open the door for you. So it might not, you're right, be the CIO. You're monitoring the CIO, but they are posting, but it has happened, but it's unlikely that we're going to just respond to a post and get a meeting and close the deal. So we need to, again, look at all of the individuals on that team. And there's a spectrum, you're right, of experience, of departmental, and it might not be even in the IT decision-making department, but we'll find the person who has influence and build that relationship, because it's all about relationships. And the tools, and speaking of automation, they allow us to see who is involved in that customer team that we can then reach out to and build that relationship, because you get your foot in the door, and then you can again it's easier to build the relationships when you have somebody on the ground who's advocating for you.
Yeah, and so I want to just say, if you're a small business that has limited funds, this could be used with Google Docs,
right,
or Sheets. You
right.
can use the ledger sheet and have
right.
names on it and
right.
track
That's true.
how it's moving.
You don't
so
have,
this doesn't mean we have to have a high investment,
right.
but we do have to have some way we all see how the moving pieces are.
Yes.
And we know who are the stakeholders in my business, let's say, that need to know what's going on.
Right.
And then who are the people involved in the process over there,
right.
moving it forward as well.
Exactly. I just met with a sales professional this morning, actually. We were talking about this, and she shared with me a success story that she was monitoring her account. There's multiple people on her team. They're all monitoring their account. She noticed that somebody in the account, their customer account, posted on LinkedIn about the artificial intelligence, that general theme. And she was able to reach out and say, hey, we're a customer of yours. I would love to work with you or your team on understanding how we can support your initiatives, and responded right away, and they have a meeting set up. So it's just really nice to see how it works.
Right.
And he's not necessarily the decision maker,
right.
but he's somebody in that customer account that can help lead and drive that relationship with the decision maker.
Yeah, outstanding. And you're adding value with it.
Yes, exactly.
Very good.
Exactly.
Great.
Another example that we use here in terms of a team approach is when, let's say, that individual who saw the post from the customer, she responded and then sent out the link to the entire team to have them go into that post and like it, potentially comment, reshare it, so that the idea of encouraging more folks within your account team, or even your company, if you're a small business, to engage with what your customers are putting out there on social media is really valuable. It's another way to kind of grow visibility within the account. And again, it has to be authentic, and you're not going to just post the same thing. You have to make sure you're adding some value. But the more Red Hatters that are engaging with that customer, again, shows Red Hat is interested, that we want to help, and it grows the awareness for Red Hat within that company.
That's excellent. That's a great story. Thank you for sharing it. I want to talk about something that I still think is misunderstood. And we've heard a lot of rhetoric about being a thought leader. And to me, the customer doesn't care if you're a thought leader. They care that you understand their world better than the competition, in my experience.
Yeah.
Now, you need to know your field.
Right.
And you need to understand what's coming down the pike.
Right.
But just pontificating,
right.
thought leader is different than, I really know what it means to be a school teacher. I really know what it means to work in this field. I really understand how complicated this is. Or I understand how your company merged. And, I don't say it, but I'm sensitive to the fact you were arch enemies before, and now you're working together.
Right.
Could you talk a little bit about that? Because I think that's important in this whole authentic process of just cranking out thought leader data versus really insight into the customer's world, their problems, their issues, and what's going on.
Right. That's a really good point. We have initiatives within the the social selling world to up-level thought leaders. And to your point, we have to focus entirely on the customer problem and how we can solve them. We have a large customer team. They generate a lot of insights, and we're able to use those to show how potentially a customer solved problems using this Red Hat service or solution. And we have an amazing customer reference team that their whole job is to find examples of how customers have used Red Hat solutions to solve their problems. So that is top of mind for us, because you're right. Being an influencer is different than a thought leader. An influencer is somebody who's really up on the industry, who knows what's happening, provides context, but not necessarily value from a customer point of view. So we make sure that the content we write is really kind of the how-to, this is what worked for company X, and you can apply this to your business in this way. So,
and the exciting thing on that is you might learn new things and new ways to use products.
Right.
We had never thought about using it that way.
Right.
Or this one support avenue we have.
Right.
We just you can create new products by paying attention to this. So I think that's an extremely important piece. Could you just kind of summarize whatever level you can share in the public of what is the process where you use tools and you get the content and then you work to court the customer through the process of becoming a new customer using tools and techniques? And anything on it. You mentioned Google Docs is one. Whatever you're comfortable sharing, I'd love to hear.
So we have a employee advocacy platform that we use that has a lot of content based on different topics, different verticals, different industries that we have available for our associates to use to share. That's one of our tools. We have, as I said, we use Google Docs for when we have these account teams together, researching and getting insights about prospects and customers, finding out what their business problems are. We have that shared environment there as well.
And then you have the meetings.
And then we have the meetings where we're understanding and prioritizing who to target and how to target them with what. And then we have another content repository that really has more technical information in it. So we're able to get white papers, data sheets, presentations that we're able to use and then share out with targeted customers. So we do utilize a lot of our shared resources, shared platforms. We have our CRM, obviously. We have our intranet with a lot of resources and content on there. I think I mentioned that at the Internet Summit. We have a whole social selling resource library for people to utilize. And so they can pick and choose, because not everybody's at the same place in their journey with using social media. So we have a lot of information that they can understand, okay, well, I'm actually middle of the road. What can I use versus I'm a beginner or I'm an expert. I don't need anything. Just give me some ideas on content. Or they're just going to use Google Alerts to find what they need and share it out there.
And then you probably have some basic company guidelines that are equivalent of don't do something stupid.
Yes, we have social media guidelines, absolutely.
And I want to add that because that's very important. You got to make those clear to people. The reason is we all have different origins and backgrounds and cultural differences, and we're now all mixed together. So you can't assume common sense is common. And it doesn't mean they don't have common sense. It might just be, the way people greet New Jersey is different than North Carolina.
And I've got to say, most people ask, what is appropriate? What can I say? What can't I say? So they're aware of it. They're cognizant of when they're sharing. They are representing Red Hat in some way, and they don't want to make any mistakes. And so we have guidelines that are available.
Scripts that are helpful, but not to be just regurgitated. Right. That's excellent. I think this gives a good idea of what we have to think of. We're in a world with teams internally that have more demands than ever before because we got to keep price caught where everything has to be more efficient. And then our customers on the same end over here as well. And we really have to think of this multi-dimensional game we're playing with it. And what are the best tools that help us stay connected? And I think that's such an important piece of it. I want to turn things around, and I love what I call the misses you learn about. What are you seeing out there that, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're still doing this? And I'm saying this because I meet people job hunting. I meet people in sales. My favorite is the salesperson who's out doing a great job connecting on LinkedIn, and his LinkedIn profile looks like he's still desperately seeking a job. I say it's like you walked out of the house with a suit on and your underwear on, you know? And I go, they're going to look back at you.
Right.
What's that digital first impression? So we shared offline a few, and I love if you'd share some of these that you see that might help people either go, oh my gosh, I'm doing it, need to stop, or acknowledge they're doing it right.
Right. That's, when I go out and do trainings, I talk a lot about the content piece of selling, how you need to use content to help solve your customers' business problems, but on LinkedIn and Twitter. But that is only one piece of it. You have to kind of go to the basic foundations of how are you representing yourself online. And there's a few things within LinkedIn specifically that I want to address. One is your profile picture. You have a profile picture, I'm sure you do, but if you haven't changed your settings to have everyone view it, if I do research about you and I go to your page and I'm not connected with you, then I'm going to see that gray icon, which is the worst way to start a relationship with somebody. You want to have your face available. You want to have 60% of it being your head, smile. You want to show that you're engaged. So if you don't remember anything from this podcast, go to your LinkedIn profile, edit your personal information, and make sure you selected that everybody can see your photo. In fact, everybody should see everything on your profile.
Yeah, it's the public profile
exactly.
section. And we talk about that in the class. If you didn't want Google to know about it, you probably shouldn't have just told 450 million people, or the current count of LinkedIn.
Right.
And I think that's so important because and then of course a business appropriate picture.
Right.
If you're a mobile detailer, then it's going to be your name on your shirt.
Right.
If you're whatever's appropriate to field. Redhat is a clean but casual work outfit.
Right.
So it might not be a suit with a tie, but that would be appropriate.
Yep. We have people wearing the red fedora in their profile pictures, and that's great. It shows their pride for where they work. Second big miss is having a summary. Many profiles that I look at do not have any summary at all. And it's an opportunity for people who are searching for you or your company. They're going to land on your profile. You've got to give them just a little paragraph about what you do and how you add value. It's not third person anymore. It's not marketing professional with X number of years experience. It's I love working with sales, enabling them to find new business. It's telling your story in a paragraph about what you do and how you add value. If nothing else, you can just put your company boilerplate there. Just say where you work and what you do, and that will provide some bit of context. Because people, again, are coming to your profile. You want them to learn more about you and your company before they even pick up the phone.
I'm going to put a little more emphasis on this. If you meet people in public and you go, it's good to meet Martin Brossman, I hope you enjoy talking to him, then make your summary look like that. And that's my joke.
Yeah.
But the thing is it's your controlled data.
Yeah.
And the reason is, I'm older where we grew up in the printed resume only world.
Right.
So what people I think make the mistake is projected on LinkedIn is that instead of, no, this is a new world of a digital first impression.
Yeah.
Imagine, what would you say to them? It says, I want to know something about your passion and interest in what you do.
Right.
At work. Now, I don't need to know your puppy interest, but from a career, what are you passionate about?
Right.
What's important to you? What do you do? I want to know what is the return on investment of you.
Right.
So you can also add specialties or something to let them know. They really know Python level 3 or something as well, along with Redhat.
Exactly.
Or, whatever that is that would be meaningful to the customer. And I just want to add, I think this is good advice for those that are job hunting too.
Right.
Because if you're a champion of the company you're working with, even if it's not perfect, they're going to go, I want to look at that person.
Right. Because they're engaged and involved in the company they currently work at. Yeah, you want to show that if you ever transfer to a different company, you're going to be as passionate and engaged in that other company as well. And one more thing to add, people get sometimes paralyzed. What do I write? What do I say? go out on LinkedIn and do searches for people who are doing similar jobs to you and see what they're saying. And you can pick and choose and add your own flavor to it. But there's nothing wrong with going out there and seeing what you think works and then adapting that to be your summary as well.
That's excellent. Now, the picture at the top, too.
The background. Yes, the background. It differentiates you. Right. There are so many profiles I see have that blue profile, picture that LinkedIn puts up there. You can go online and do a search for LinkedIn background photos, and you'll find a bunch of them. Yeah. Grab something and put it on your profile.
Just make sure you have rights to it. We don't want
true. There's a lot of free ones. Yes, exactly. And that can be where you have a little bit of personal interest. Yeah. You can, if you're big in. One person I saw that really loved kayaking. A great picture of a lake out there because that really shows what they're passionate about. We at Redhat, we have some Redhat branded
if you want
Redhat backgrounds you can use if you want, and other people don't. So, but again, make sure you take the extra time just to go find a picture for the background.
And then skills. Would you mention anything? I'll add one with the skills are they don't realize it's the top 3 now.
Right.
And so I'll see someone's profile and they're professional and might say, word perfect or something.
Make sure that
it happened to be the order they put them in.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, just make sure that there's a way you can look at your profile and see it how others see it, and just go on there and look and see how you're being represented, because you're right. LinkedIn changes the way they present your information all the time. Mm-hmm. So go there regularly and see. They just updated the way the contacts are shown. Make sure that you have your URL, update your URL so it's not just your letters and concatenation of a letter and name. You can customize your URL. So yes, that's a good point. Make sure that you view it and adapt so it really puts your best foot forward.
And now I want to hear from you, your view of the one pitch I've connected to them approach. You connect, and then there's this long paragraph of a sales pitch.
Right.
It's sort of like, the card. Yeah, that's right. Thank you. I need to hear that.
Right. And so 2 things about that. One is when you're connecting, make sure you click on the message or connect on their profile page, and always select add custom note, because how many times have you received this, I want to connect with you on LinkedIn and I don't know who they are, I don't know why they want to connect with me. Make sure you add a custom message. Hi, I met you at the conference, or I see that we're in similar industries and I'd love to share best practices with you. Give context, and I guarantee you'll get more connection acceptance.
And you could still pull it from your Evernote or your Google Notes or something.
Yes.
As your own boilerplate. Right. Just don't put it as a full sales pitch.
Exactly. And then don't be exact. It's a sales pitch. If you connect with me, I will see you'll be in my feed, I'll be in your feed. Share some content, share some information that gets me interested in what you have to offer, and then possibly start, teasing into, would you be interested in learning more about what Company X does? But it is not acceptable for you just to go in there, connect with me, and send me your sales pitch, because it will be a delete and disconnect.
Right. And I want to add that, because just an authentic or maybe a different perspective. You put an article and you go, that's really interesting. Right. One other thing I'd like to add is, it's sort of almost like a disagreement, a discussion. Right. I have so much respect for that.
Yes.
With someone, now, the other favorite one I had is, I wrote an article and this guy goes, here's a link to my article. That's all it was,
Yeah. Or I would love for you to look at this and like it. Right. Like, who are you? Right. What are you writing about? Why would I want to like it? Right. And so don't go in there just hoping you're going to generate more views on the content you create either. Authenticity, make sure it really resonates with why you'd want to connect with somebody.
Okay. Messaging. Anything else on messaging, Mrs., that you want to add? I think the big one is the pitch as you go.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the last one I'll talk about, since we talked about, is if you're in a job, long-term career, what about recommendations? Any comments on that? Because I think that's important.
Recommendations are, I think, very important. They're more important than skills. I think people actually up-level me on skills that I don't really feel like I'm very proficient on, but recommendations are a very authentic way for people to give feedback about your experience, your interactions, your influence. So I try and ask at least once a month for a recommendation, but it goes both ways. Make sure that you give recommendations as well, because they are a very important part of your experience and your work history.
I think it's a way to acknowledge people the world will see.
Right.
And really go through the past.
Yeah.
Well, this is excellent, and I look forward to our next show too. But how can people learn more about you? How can they learn more about Redhat? What are ways they can get more information?
Yeah. So follow me on LinkedIn or connect with me on LinkedIn. Let me know that you heard the podcast. I will respond. It's Liesl Mathis, LinkedIn.com/Liesl Mathis. I share a lot of content about employee advocacy and social selling. Love for you to take a look at that. And Redhat, redhat.com, a lot of great information about our company. We have many social accounts you can follow as well. We have a Life at Redhat channel on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and it's fun. And Facebook is fun for you to see kind of how our culture plays out within our global offices.
Excellent, excellent. And then I'll just mention, please check out Linking into Sales. Greg and I offer training online as well, and socialselling.training you can find out. If you enjoy the show, we would love a thumbs up, a comment, and also other things you'd like to see on the show. So let us hear from you what else you want. We love to hear it. We take it and build shows off of feedback from people. And of course, we love reviews as well. So have a great day. This is Martin Brossman, Social Selling with Linking into Sales. And hope you enjoyed it. Look forward to hearing from you in the future.
Thanks, Martin.
Thanks.
Bye.
This show was recorded before Greg passed away. And I ask again that you seek out the GoFundMe, see the notes in the show notes on Linking into Sales. And also, if you have something to contribute to the tribute show, please let me know. I'll find some way to include it. Send it to me directly at martin@martinbrossman.com and put on the subject line, Greg Heyer Tribute Show. I'm going to give it several weeks to a month to get the material together, and then look forward to hearing from you. And let us all embrace and enjoy and appreciate the wonderful life and gifts Greg Heyer gave to us while he was alive. Thank you.